the first Unreal Developer Day post the pandemic. So I want to thank you all. It's amazing, energizing to see so many folks. Folks at the back, please come and sit in the front. I know that we are typically used in school to sit at the back. This is not school. This is actually a nice little developer day. So come on front. We are very, very nice people. A lot of folks over there. So thank you so much for coming. The sheer variety of games that you're seeing over here is just amazing. It just shows the maturity, it shows the talent that the Indian developers are bringing to the table using Unreal Engine, and the relationships that we're building with the Indian gaming community is one of the most critical ones for us in Unreal Engine, and we are happy that you're all over here. And I will now talk about some of the work that we have been doing with the Unreal Engine editor and as Epic Games that I think will be pretty exciting to existing developers or developers who are now dabbling into making games using Unreal Engine. And not just games, but and I'll talk more about that too in just a bit. Yeah? Okay. So this is a new startup idea. You click on something, it will change the slide. Cool, thanks. Alright, so we'll start with a nice sizzle reel.
What makes us human? It starts with an idea, the desire to create, to solve, to play, to share, to interact. Together we can build new worlds. The freedom to create for all.
Alright. Repeat audience. Alright. So how many of you, I guess, know Epic Games? Epic Games? Great. That's fantastic. So I think I'm done with my talk. So I'm sure like Epic Games, you folks are very familiar with the games that we are making. So of course there's Fortnite, there's Rocket League, there's Fall Guys, and typically from a more gamer point of view, that's kind of what Epic Games is known for. And as Epic Games, as a company, we've been around for 30 years now. We have presence in over 15 countries, and obviously India is a place where we're also growing presence. And we have offices worldwide. We have 4,000 plus folks working tirelessly in order to enable developers like yourself to make amazing games and non-game applications. And we are quite prolific in winning some awards. So we have some 50 international awards, over 50 international awards that we have won as a company. And when you look at Epic Games, it's not just about the game itself. It's not about us making Fortnite. It's not us about Fall Guys. It's not about Rocket League, but also the tools and the ecosystem that we are building around Epic Games that enable developers like yourself to also create games either like the ones that we are making or like the ones that you could be making yourself, like the games that you're dreaming of. And through the ecosystem, there is a creator technology that's built around it. So we have, of course, Unreal Editor, there is Twinmotion, there is Meta Human Creator, there is Quixel, there is Reality Capture. And I'll talk a lot about this in the coming few minutes. And it's not just about the developer tools, because once you make a game, it's critical for you to then also be able to publish it to a place that makes sense for a lot more people to get a reach on it. which is why we also have distribution through the Epic Game Store. And you could also create experiences within Fortnite itself, which is all the creative experiences, which provides Fortnite, I guess, as a platform for you to do your own or to create your own experiences in there. So, what is the technology on which Fortnite is built upon? It's Unreal Engine, and it's the same Unreal Engine which we use. There's no secret hidden stash that we have that we are then creating Fortnite and then giving you a different version. That's not the case. It's exactly the same engine that we use as Epic Games to make Fortnite, and then we are providing to you for you to also create the games that we're going to be making. Now, in this engine, there is amazing features. Like I'm sure there is you could create world building, you could create foliages, amazing looking photoreal worlds. You could do animation with inside it. You could create amazing particle effects inside it, and through the ecosystem that we are providing through Epic Games, with Unreal Editor and using services like the Epic Online services, you're also able to work on millions of concurrent users. On Fortnite, for example, we have 400 million accounts who are registered on Fortnite, and at any given point of time, you have about 15 million concurrent users. And on Epic Online services, we provide you the same infrastructure for you to then create the games and then scale the way that we are doing with Fortnite. So we test the game out, we test the engine out, we test the infrastructure out, and then you're like, yeah, it works. Now you go use it with all the confidence that you can muster. And because of the ability for us to, because of we are eating, you're dog fooding the game engine and the related services, over 50% of the next gen console games are now using Unreal Engine to create their own games. Some of the biggest names that you would probably see in the coming months or coming years, considering there's a new generation of consoles that's being released, all of that is now being supported through Unreal Engine, which is amazing. So it's all great. Yeah, it's like, oh my God, I want to make a game. Like, what do I do now? Well, it's quite easy. Just go to unrealengine.com, and the editor itself is just freely available for you to start using. The entry barrier, in my opinion, to learn Unreal Engine, or in fact to learn game development, has never been lower in the history of gaming, in my opinion, because the software is free. Like Sahishri said, we are also providing the training in Unreal Engine for free. And we are also providing virtual machines if folks are looking for hardware. So it's just a phenomenal time for you to be a game developer and a phenomenal time for you to create any kind of interactive real-time 3D applications. And because of these capabilities, we are now seeing Unreal Engine not being used just to make games, but also across industries. I'm seeing a lot of friends and folks over here who are from the enterprise sector, who are from the automotive sector, from the broadcast, film and animation field. All of them using Unreal Engine because of the high fidelity graphics that it provides, because of the workflow it provides, because of the pipeline tooling that it provides. So it's like, it's not just a stereotypical game developer sitting in the basement making games anymore. It's enterprises and filmmakers and creative folks using it too. Then let's talk about the M word. I don't know if I can talk about it. Can I talk about it? Yeah, I think we can talk about it. So the metaverse. Everyone is talking about the metaverse. And it is also an exciting period because this is a place where all the industries that I was showing you before is kind of converging into this metaverse-like application. Thank you. Metaverse-like application where you're able to kind of combine all of the things I was talking about. Ability to build a real-time interactive world, create it using tools and the ecosystem that it provides, like the Unreal Editor and the Meta Human Creator and the Epic Online services to then add a social element to it. And all of that then converges to create the metaverse, which I think is still being a word that is still being defined, but the elements obviously exist for that. Now, I want to use an example of this in the film and television industry, because that's kind of jazzy. Today, over 300 plus movies are using Unreal Engine to make their movies and they make their film, to make their animated content. And these are not just like foreign movies, but Indian movies. In fact, I was just anecdotally telling, like, almost every studio that I'm speaking to is probably using Unreal Engine either in production or definitely dipping their toes into it. And some of the biggest movies that you're seeing today are already using Unreal Engine, and it's so hidden that you don't even realize it's UE. So why do they use it? It is literally the way in which you could fit the entire production pipeline in from beginning, from previs to tech quiz to production to then final pixels, all the way through by using Unreal Engine. And fundamentally it saves a lot of time, it saves a lot of money, and more importantly, it enables faster communication. Now, these are all things that as game developers, and by the way, how many game devs are here? Yeah. And you're all like familiar. You're like, yeah, I've been doing this all my life, man. Like this is what we do. Like, we are committing to Perforce, we are doing collaborative tools or collaborative workflows. So all of this is kind of old or known in the gaming universe, but now it's now leaking or flowing into the film field too. And why does this happen? And this is a pipeline that is, again, familiar for a lot of game developers, because what has happened, and this is a pipeline that's not necessarily only for film, but also in every other application that you're going to be making, is it parallelizes the entire workflow. So when you typically do any kind of application, it's a waterfall. Like you start from art, you then get into previs, you then do like your your stunt viz or your green screen work, and then you get into editorial or post viz. But any time that you're doing anything at the end of your pipeline, it costs time and money. Whereas in game development, you can essentially change anything at any point in time. Like, I can change my avatar's clothing in real time or way back into production. And that's also something that's leaking into the enterprise and film and animation field too. So you can see everything is parallelized. You can see, like, as I'm doing my previs, virtual art department, VFX department, you kind of like keep reiterating. But even if you make any changes, even in the final edit, where you're suddenly realizing like, hey, my character or my avatar needs to have a different skin color, I'm literally making an Avatar 3 game with make the skin color blue. Yeah, you can totally do that. That's totally fine. Like that's something that is exciting for a lot of folks who are only now entering only now dipping their legs into creating interactive real-time 3D applications. So let's take a look at this quick little video where folks, if you can turn on the video, so audio. Hold up. So you might be wondering, why am I speaking about filmmaking at a game developer conference, right? It's like, I'm not a filmmaker, or I could be a filmmaker. Any filmmakers here? Thank you. 2 people, 3 people. Welcome. 4 people. 5. Oh, this guy is actually a camera guy. All right. So yeah. So why am I talking about this? Because the way you kind of imagine this to be is when you're creating any assets for any application, be it film, be it automotive, be it games, all of your assets could literally be reused to create applications in any other platform. The way I would think about it is it's like a backlot of a movie studio. You have all of these assets that you created for a movie, you created for a game, that you created for a automotive application, for broadcast, and you can just keep it. That's yours, in your hard disk, in your servers. And there is absolutely no reason for you to not reuse the same assets that when you're going to be creating applications or games, which is not probably your first application or first project that you're making. So the Epic ecosystem provides you all of the capabilities that you need in order to create this kind of very, very rich real-time 3D environments. At the middle of it is, of course, Unreal Editor. And in tools, we have Epic Online Services, we have Twinmotion, and in terms of asset creation, there's a whole bunch of tools that's available. If you want to just grab assets from external third-party folks, you could also bring that in. There's a lot of things I could talk about, but we don't have a lot of time to talk about it. So I'll just only pick up few things that I think are interesting to begin with. Let's start with Unreal Engine. Now, Unreal Engine 5 was released, a few months ago, and they have some of the most amazing capabilities. It became a major version. We were in Unreal Engine 4.27, and we released Unreal Engine 5 after almost few years. Now, the reason why it is a major version is because a lot of features, such as the ability to have virtualized geometry, which means that you're literally able to dump billions of polygons inside your game and have no performance hit. That's great. You also have global, something called Lumen, which allows for real-time global illumination. So light works as if it works in real life. So if you go out in the sun, you have one sun, and that's the same sun that does light bounces and illuminates the entire world. But in game development, I'm sure a lot of folks are familiar with like faking lights to make it look real. You don't have to do that anymore. You literally have one sun, and it just automatically does real-time global illumination for you. You also have virtualized textures, which means that you can have 8K resolution textures inside Unreal Engine and make it look amazing. So you are able to have, say, photogrammetrized assets, add real 8K texture images, and your assets would just look as real as it can. You also have spatial audio, which audio is a very important part of game development and interactive applications. And in fact, we also released a new feature called Meta Sounds, with which you're able to have a node-based editor to author sounds procedurally. So, and these are just the tip of the iceberg. There's so many more features in there, but Unreal Engine is truly a game changer, or Unreal Engine 5 is truly a game changer when it comes to game development and interactive application development. And it's all cool, all of this is great, but how do you then deploy, how do you then reach more people? How do you, you probably don't have console quality, or no one has console at their homes possibly, or they want to access this application as easy as possible. So what you're seeing here is Unreal Engine application, which is a city sample project, which you can, by the way, get for free in the marketplace, is running. This is an entire city. It's just dumped in Unreal Engine, and it's running on a browser. You see that there. And how is that possible? That's possible through pixel streaming. So when you're trying to reach a lot of folks using the same high fidelity application, you're able to then let the compute happen on the GPUs on the cloud, and then stream that application to your client, so that the folks who are consuming this content can have a hardware that is kind of agnostic to whatever that you're running. Then we have MetaHuman Creator. MetaHuman Creator allows you to create photorealistic human beings. So she's a fairly photorealistic human being, and it is also a fully rigged application or a fully rigged model. So it's also available for free. There is nothing to download or either. You just go to metahumancreator.unrealengine.com, and you're able to just author a MetaHuman. And we already have about 50 odd templates of MetaHumans already available that you can start working with, or you can also create your own MetaHuman, author it through a very simple to use tool. At the same time, one of the more exciting things for me, as soon as this got released, which was early last year, or late last year, was like, hey, I want to see myself. How do I author myself? I want to put my face. I think we're all like very selfish people. Like I wanted to put my face. So how do you do that? We also released something called Mesh to MetaHuman, where you can literally scan your face using any phone app or any scanner, and upload that or process it through the MetaHuman Creator plugin, and that will essentially replicate your face in the MetaHuman Creator with a human that is fully rigged, and that you can also then use inside your game or your interactive application, which is phenomenal. Yes, sir. I'm sorry. No, this is running in real time. This is not a video. It's running in real time. We're all about real time. Even I am speaking in real time. I have not recorded. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Everything that we do is real time. And okay, so you create the human beings. That's great. You created the world, but you created the human beings. But then, how do you then start populating your world? And that's why we have Quixel. Quixel folks have the best job in the world. They essentially go around the world with a nice backpack, as we all do, and then scan the world, which is using a technique called photogrammetry, and then drop those 3D assets in their highest resolution possible. And it also supports virtualized geometry, which is the nanite technology I was talking about. So you can then bring in all of these assets for free in Unreal Engine and start populating your world. And that makes it easy. Bring a human being, start populating your world with assets that look real because they are from the real world, and then you start using it. We also have something called Quixel Mixer, which allows you to then take these assets and then mix it. Maybe you don't want to have like a photoreal rock. You want to make it a little more stylized, like something that you'd see in Fortnite, for example. You could also do that using Quixel Mixer, which is also available for free. And you're like, no, I don't want to use this 18,000 plus assets that Quixel gives. I want to use my own asset. Sure, you can. No problem. So that's why we have reality capture. So with reality capture, you are able to then use the tools provided through reality capture called capturing reality. It's kind of very confusing. But you could then use that, use your own photogrammetry tools, and then scan whatever environment that you want. In fact, our next talk by Avinash from Quicksand is precisely doing that. He's scanning a lot of South Indian temples and then putting that inside his game. That's the next talk, so don't miss it if you're into making that. And that's using capturing reality provided to you by Reality Capture. But you're like, yeah, that's all great, but I want to scan my sofa. I don't want to bring in expensive LiDAR tools and whatnot. That's also there. So through Sketchfab's real-time 3D scanning application, take your phone, take your sofa, take your whatever, and then just start scanning with your phone, and then you're automatically able to bring that into Unreal Engine also to then create your own assets. So asset creation and world population has never been like as easy before. And if you have those assets and if you want to share those assets with folks, Sketchfab also provides a web-based application and also provides a mobile app through which you're able to then upload the 3D models that you have and show it off to your whoever that you want to show it off. So you have a nice little shoe over there and you want to see if the shoe fits your leg. You can have your friend in the store scan the shoe, upload it to the web, and then automatically use augmented reality, which is a web-based or AR app that's available automatically through Sketchfab, and then check if the shoe fits your leg or not, which is great. And Sketchfab also has hundreds and thousands of assets that you could also import into Unreal Engine, and that's also integrated automatically. And then we also have a often less talked about a tool when it comes to game development and development in general, and that's Twinmotion. Twinmotion was originally intended for architects to do architectural visualization. But we are now seeing more and more studios, and that's across verticals, including game development and whatnot, who are using Twinmotion to just do world building by themselves. Now, Twinmotion itself is a standalone tool that allows you to just import assets from pretty much everywhere. It could be Quixel, it could be your own assets that you made in Maya. It could also bring in CAD files if you're doing like Revit or CAD-based development. And you could bring all of that in. There is absolutely no code that's written over here. It's just literally drag and drop interfaces. And within a few minutes, you're able to then create a realistic looking world, which you can then
use the Twinmotion to Unreal Bridge to then bring that world that you created in Twinmotion into Unreal to then do further development. So with all of these tools, it's amazing. Like, you can literally create a photorealistic world using MetaHumans, using Twinmotion, using Quixel, using reality capture, using Sketchfab with like a few minutes of work, really. But all of this is kind of boring if you're enjoying it only yourself. You're like, oh my God, I made this amazing world, but no one else can see it because it's my world. But that's not fun. That's why we have Epic Online Services. As I mentioned earlier, Epic Online Services is also available for free. And you are able to use the same infrastructure that is powering Fortnite with all those 400 million accounts and 15 million concurrent players management. All of that is now available for you to then show this amazing world that you have created using Twinmotion and all of the other tools that I was talking about, and then have your own friends create their avatars using maybe MetaHumans and then drop them, so you could then have like, a nice little chat or, a nice little productive work that you're doing in this real-time 3D environment, which people are now dubbing as the M word, which is the metaverse. So what can you do with it? With Epic Online Services, you have what I really like about this nice Venn diagram is Epic Online Services is not like all in or all out. It's very modular. So you could choose to only use, say, the social part of it, where you have a network at Epic Account Services, Epic Online Services, where we have a network of folks who are already using it. You could use only the social component of it, which is the social media part of it. Or you could only talk about the game services. So you want to say, like, I'm going to manage my own account, but I want to use your leaderboards. I want to use your voice chat. I want to use only the matchmaking service. The rest of it I don't care about. That's totally fine. So it's so modular that you can just kind of pick and choose what part of EOS that you want to use inside your gaming application and then start developing for multi-user gameplay. So we have, of course, we talked about Nanite. Sorry. I don't know how that suddenly showed up. But yeah, thank you, Nanite, for showing up. Nice guest appearance. But let's go to the next one. Like, okay, you have this nice little, you have created this nice little game. You have created this nice little world. And you're inviting your friends to play along with it. But what about just showing off to the world? As an artist, I'm sure artists, and I'm an artist myself, I think so. And I would like to show off my work to other folks, and that's why we also have ArtStation. Now, ArtStation recently hit a nice little milestone. It had a payout of $10 million given out to all the artists who were showing up or showing off their work at ArtStation. And ArtStation is a place where you can show off the work that you have done in Unreal Engine. And for folks who are looking to get hired, they can also post their portfolio in ArtStation for other people to look at. And for folks who are looking to hire people, they could also get into ArtStation to look at some of the top talent over there. So definitely a nice little, a nice big place, in fact, for you to show off your portfolio, to show off your work, and also to get hired or to hire folks. All right, so then we have the marketplace. The marketplace is also like this when you start learning Unreal Engine. I'm sure, like, everyone's dream. I always learned Unreal Engine or any, in fact, tool by looking at an existing project. I want to like tear it apart. I want to see like how was this actually made? Because I don't want to build something from scratch. And I'm sure everyone here agrees to that kind of a learning methodology. And that's when marketplace plays a very important role for learning. It does, of course, thousands of assets, both made by Epic and by third-party folks. But for me, there are assets like the Lyra starter project. The Lyra is a game which is a multi-user game, multiplayer game, battle royale style. That's fully made and it's fully maintained by the Epic Games folks itself, by Epic Games engineers. So you could download the full game, either just play the game for fun, or you could explore how was Lyra architected. And it's fully there, the full source code, everything is out there, and it's also continuously maintained as we add more and more features into the game itself. Or if you're into film and animation, you want to see like how does fur work? I want to see something that's amazing. So we recently worked with Weta Digital in New Zealand to create something called the Meerkat demo. I don't know if you have seen that, but the entire project is available on the marketplace. So you could download it, take a look at how did they put together this almost a 3-minute short film with amazing fur, amazing lighting, amazing feather work because there's an eagle over there. So that to me is amazing, or a critical work or a critical place for you to start learning, and at the same time just grab assets that you would want to use in your game. And now that we have all of this, just looking at my time, now that we have all of this, how do you then learn together? Because it's not always that that you want to contact only like folks from Epic, because that doesn't scale. And that's why we've been like very actively working with the communities. Recently, we had a Chennai user group, a Delhi user group, we had a Bangalore user group. Was anyone in any of those user groups? Yeah, nice to see all of you. Yeah. And we're now again having a Mumbai user group. So those are all places where the community can feed into each other. Now, typically, what I've noticed is if someone has a problem, 10 of them also has the same problems elsewhere. They just haven't spoken to each other. Someone has found the solution to it, but there is no platform for them to share it, which is why we have the dev community. If you go to dev.epicgames.com, it's a brand new portal where we have hours and hours of tutorials and videos that were made by Epic Games and also by the community. And it's also a place where you can raise awareness about your own community. Like recently, we also heard from a guy from Jaipur who wanted to say, like, I want to start a community in Jaipur and make it aware. Like this is a place where you could go about, showing people that I exist. Like, I'm an Unreal developer in this region. And finally, this is pretty cool. You're all like, oh man, I have this amazing idea. All of this is superb. Like, I want to then start making my own game, but I have like no money, man. Like, how do I do it? Which is why, to encourage game developers and to act as a catalyst to your game development dreams, we launched something called the Epic Mega Grant. Now, the Epic Mega Grant is a $100 million fund, which we have been distributing globally. And in India, we have quite a few luminaries of the Epic Mega Grant who have received it and have been doing their development over there. In fact, we have a panel discussion coming up late in the afternoon at about 2:45, I should say, something like, or 1:40, sometime around that. I'll confirm that in the next slide, which shows the schedule. But we have a lot of folks who have received this mega grant, and we could help. And if you have a great game idea, if you have a great interactive application that you want help with, please approach us. We'd be happy to review it. And we will be happy to provide you with direction and, importantly, also provide you with this kind of a money that will help you realize your dream project. So with that, thank you very much. I hope that you have a phenomenal Unreal Developer Day and a phenomenal IGDC. Thank you so much for turning up in large numbers. I kind of feel sad that there is folks standing at the back. But I think in the next session, we should have more chairs. And we will make sure that those are real-time chairs, and we will I hope you have a good time, and thank you so much once again for being present over here at IGDC, and hope that you have a excellent time over here. This is a schedule that we have. Next up we have is Avinash from Quicksand, like Antara. He's making an independent AAA game. We have phenomenal lineup of talks. All the talks that we have today is just spot on. So we have Avinash, we have Nikhil, who is from the Dream Game Studios, who is talking about transitioning from Unreal to build a AAA quality mobile game out of India. We have a panel discussion, which I was talking about at 1:40, where I'm going to be moderating the panel with some excellent folks from, say, like Sumo Digital. We have folks who are making GTA in Mumbai city, by the way, or GTA kind of like a game. It's not GTA itself, but called Mumbai Gullies. So we have all of those folks in the panel where they're going to be discussing the advantages of cross-platform. We also have an amazing program called the Women's Creator Program, where we've been choosing some of the top women talent in this country and in Southeast Asia to create short films using Unreal Engine. And some of the awesome women who participate in the program are also going to be talking in the Women's Creator Program panel. And I think once you are like all inspired and pumped up about all of this, I'm sure you'll want to know more about training. It's like, how do I get trained? How do I learn this? So that's why we have Rajdeep and Maya, who are some of our star Unreal authorized instructors, who will be talking about precisely that. How can they help train you, and how can you yourself, in fact, become an Unreal authorized instructor if you wish to be. And with that, and finally, we have David Selzer, who should be around here somewhere. And he's going to be talking about the roadmap for Unreal Engine and what you could expect in the coming weeks or in the coming months. So with that, I'll pass it on to Avinash. With that, we'll pass it on to tea, coffee break. And yes, there's questions. Yeah, questions. Let's go for questions. I think we have time. Yes. Mike is not a guy. Mike is the microphone. Yeah. Mike. Hey, Mike. Yeah. Yeah.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So recently I made around myself, I'm Vamshi, and I'm kind of solo Unreal developer used to be. Right now I tried out 3 to 4 virtual production virtual CG based films in virtual production.
Mm-hmm.
So the kind of challenges I faced was when you make a CGI spaced scene in virtual production.
CGI, I'm sorry, CGI what?
I mean, what I meant is, like, in virtual production, when you use an iPad or a webcam, so can we use physics to it in space-related scenes?
Can you use physics to it in space-related
Yeah.
scenes?
So basically, there'll be webcam, right, in Unreal Engine.
Yeah.
So can we use physics like rigid body objects to attach to it in running during the filmmaking? Like when you press play, can we do it like adding like having physics to it, like
To the camera itself?
Yeah.
Absolutely no. Absolutely you can. I don't see why you cannot
Like,
do it.
can you give tips how? Because I struggled to find the answers for it in internet.
Absolutely.
Like
No, let's talk about this. It can be done.
Like adding physics to the webcam.
Absolutely. I think there are ways to go about doing it, and there's ways that you have to consider how you are moving the vcam in the real world, and then parallelize that or compute accordingly with the physics that you're using in the virtual world. We'll definitely talk about it. You said your name Vamshi, right?
Yeah.
I will find you, and then I'll find and I'll get you an answer for it for sure.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
One
man.
more last question. So
Yeah, please.
is there a future in mobile space in Unreal and implementation of Nanite in
So
Unreal?
there's a talk at 12:10 by Nikhil, who is precisely going to talk about how he is going to be making a AAA game on mobile. So I would definitely check the talk out.
I mean, in general, like in future, is there a pipeline in Unreal adding Nanite support to the mobile version? Like,
I think it really depends on how you're using how you're using the tech. I would say when you're working on a low-end device, you got to consider the memory. You got to consider a lot of options in order to make it optimized. So I think once again I'll find you and we'll definitely discuss about that.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yes, question behind you. Yeah.
Hi, myself Karthik from Bosch as a technical artist. So we are working on HMI related topics for car automations. So we are currently working on Unity. We cross over from the Conzi, Qt and all. Now we are looking to have a discussions inside the Bosch, like why we should not use Unreal. So I have experience with the Unreal. Now we are looking, what are the facilities and what are the options we are looking for that supports our existing, projects and upcoming projects. And we are line up with a quite interesting projects.
Yeah.
So we need to know that the reason I came here to is like to understand that what kind of supports, Unreal is, providing for the HMI related topics.
Yeah, we are absolutely, we have a lot of tools that support HMI and we are very interested to help you out. We have Navneet, who is somewhere here. There, Navneet is our star business development lead for all enterprises and automotive and HMI. Let's all have a discussion with you and then figure out like how we can help with the HMI part. Love to do that. Yeah.
Thanks.
Yes. I love your look. I one day aspire to be like you. Yeah.
Hello, my name is Shreyas. I'm a tech artist from Ink Games. So I have a question. So despite Epic's marketing saying that Lumen is amazing and all, yes, it is amazing, but I feel it's not production ready yet because it's very expensive. I've seen instances where it has around like 4 to 6 ms in the actual like computational time. So my question is, are there plans on for future plans on improving Lumen? Because right now I'm at a stage in my project where I have to decide like, are we going to bake things or go ahead with Lumen? And once we go ahead at 2 years down the line, going back and reverting all that might be inefficient. So what would you advise would be my lighting pipeline?
As with any real-time interactive application, budgeting as in like CPU, GPU budgeting is extremely critical. And you got to look at what is your base or what is the minimum hardware that you're going to be supporting.
Yeah,
Now-
940
Yeah.
S.
No, that's kind of like you got to determine that. And I wouldn't blanket say that you know, and of course Lumen has performance hits for sure because it's doing a lot of stuff behind the scenes for you to do that. So you got to then take that balance. Baking is not a bad solution at all. In fact, it's great if you want to like have a lot of optimization for your game and a lot of budget. You know, you want to budget your CPU, GPU usage. So I don't think there is one answer saying like, you know, yeah, go use Lumen, it's the best, or don't use baking, it's not the best. Like, that's not the case. You got to balance out. At some places, Lumen might be phenomenal, as you saw in the city sample project. In some places, it's probably not, and you probably have to bake it. So you got to find that balance.
Okay.
And figure it out. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
No problem.
Hi, nice presentation. And I would like to know, we are talking about the reality capture. No, I am finding the way to how to get it in a mobile version. I think still out of beta version or something. How is it available to public, or how can we get that?
So that's currently in beta, and we will be releasing it quite soon. And you will be able to, everyone should be able to use it by themselves, like, you know.
Now,
and
any possible to join that beta group?
Let's talk about it. Like, I'll find you. What's your name?
Kavilan.
Kapilan.
Yeah.
Kapilan, I'll find you, man. Let's talk about it. Let's see what we can do. But it should be out very, you know, very soon, for sure. Yeah.
Thanks.
It's a question right there.
Hello, myself Nipun. I'm from Mercedes-Benz, so I'm a technical artist. So we basically work with Unreal and other XYZ game engines to generate synthetic data. Basically, it's not a typical domain with gaming and all, but we generate synthetic data with IR, replication of IR cameras and semantic segmentation and all these things. So we face a lot of difficulty like going to the vertex level, like reverse engineering Unreal Engine, or like controlling the frame rate and capturing the exact image, matching the annotations. Basically,
are you using like point cache to bring that in?
Something like that, yeah.
I mean, I think that's why you should use reality capture, because with reality capture's tool fundamentally allows for cleanup of the synthetic data that you're bringing in. And if you're using point cache, or if you're using like any kind of capturing devices like IR or LiDAR.
Not completely. We are not interacting with the hardware with engine, but we basically work with inside game engine. Like we take MetaHumans, for example. We work with MetaHumans and try to get the vertex information of eyes, or like basically getting the vertex information eyes to track eye orientation or like facial detections and all these things, face IDs and all. So we have some difficulty, like maybe someone could help us.
I'll be happy to help you out. I'm still having a little fuzzy understanding of what exactly that you're doing. But are you talking about like, you know, specific points? When you say vertex, you're talking about like how
yes,
my eye
like
point
we take the world space and convert that vertex information into screen space. Like basically we don't have much information online or someone else doing.
No, let's talk about that. I think it's an interesting use case. I'm guessing you're using something like computer vision. You are trying to track what the person is doing.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll talk about it. There's actually a live link app. I don't know if you've used that at all. It kind of uses.
Yeah, we do use live link and Rococo.
Yeah. So we'll talk about it for sure. Yeah. You said your name is Nipun, right? Yeah. Cool. All right. Just one last question, because we got to very importantly have tea and coffee where we can then discuss something. Yeah.
My name is Suman.
Hi.
I'm from Bangalore Cis Animation Studio. So basically, I'm into cinematics of into film 3D films like that.
Sure.
So I use almost from 3 years, I am using the Unreal Engine pipeline and with the Blender pipeline. So what we feel is like we are getting a very good results in the cinematics output. There are two ways to get the render done by legacy render as well as the movie render queue. So when we are getting the things done with movie render queue, so adding the console commands is drastically taking a lot of time, maybe 2 days, 3 days for 10 seconds or 20 seconds of video output. So what do you say, like, what is the difference between a movie render queue output and as a legacy render output? Why it is taking so much of time in the movie render queue?
There is a lot of variables over there when it comes to the render time using movie render queue. The console commands that you could be adding, it be like, you're having like 8K renders that you could possibly have, or you're doing a lot of anti-aliasing, which could be like, 8 or 16 levels of anti-aliasing, which will all take time. Or you're maybe like segmenting the entire render that you're doing. For every frame, you're maybe rendering 4 frames in order to make that kind of high resolution. So there's a lot of variables. There's no one reason why your renders could be taking time. But the idea of using the movie render queue itself is to add all of this post-processing, like anti-aliasing, or maybe like locking your assets to a LOD 0. There's a lot of components around it. I don't think there's a single reason why I can just say like, just have this checkbox which just says like make it fast and it'll just work. You got to figure that out. Yeah.
Major difference what we found is we work we do a lot of R&Ds in render queue, because we have around 90 minutes of the movie to be rendered.
Yeah.
So all those are segmented and everything is sequenced. But the thing is like the same quality we are getting in the legacy render as well as the thing.
No, I think in the interest of time, let's talk about this because it's a very specific question.
Yes.
And I want to be aware that folks are probably like making games and not using the movie render queue. Okay. So let's definitely talk about it. I'll find you for sure. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you. So with that, let's go have some amazing tea and coffee. There's a lineup of excellent talks. And all of the Unreal Engine team, we're all like nice people. There is Shruti, Anjana, Supreet, Hector, Quentin, Saishri, Navneet. Navneet is the best. So all of us are here. So do bother us, do tap us on the shoulder, do grab us and then say like, hey, we have a question, and we'll be happy to answer them for you. So with that, thank you so much and have a great IGDC.